Welcome to the Challenge Chronicles. I'm Devin Jordan. We're here to cover Spies, Lies, and Allies, episode 12, where Devin said last night that the mission was the challenge personified. And he's absolutely right, because this entire season has been the producers trying to blow smoke up our ass. I am with Trace Armstrong and Rob McIntyre. Thank you for our patrons for supporting us. If you'd like to become a patron and get one bonus episode per week, you can go to patreon.com/the Challenge Chronicles and subscribe for $4 per month. What did we think of last night's episode?
Well, hey, before we do that, hey, for those of you that aren't subscribers, the All Stars 2 recaps are exclusive to Patreon. So if that's something that you're interested in, you will only get the All Stars 2 recaps on Patreon. So if you're interested in that, now's the time.
I seem to be in the minority. I didn't think last episode was bad. The public perception of it seemed pretty negative, but I didn't think it was bad at all. To be honest, I thought it was fine.
I don't think the episode was bad, but there were several moments where I was just like, fucking shoot me. I
thought it, so that was the thing. Like, watching it up into a certain point, like I was like, all right, like this isn't that, like this is fine. You know what I mean? And then we got to the mission, and that was like the elimination, and that was one of the worst eliminations of all time. Like, I thought that was absolutely terrible. I felt bad. I felt bad for Betina, dude. Like, I thought like the edit that they gave her like throughout that was absolutely atrocious. I wanted to like fast forward through it. Like, at no point in time did she have a realistic chance to win. Emmy's reaction at the end of it is absolutely one of the most cringeworthy things that's ever been on the show. I never want to see her on the show again.
And get ready, she's probably gonna win, and we'll be back for the next 3 seasons.
I don't think she's gonna win. She seems like she might be like one of the most polarizing characters they've had on in some time. I think even more so than like a Ninja or a Kara, really, because she has like, I would say it's like a 60-30 split, 60-40 split or so on Emmy, where like majority of the audience is not really feeling her, but then she does have a pretty vocal part of the fan base that is really in favor of her. So it's
even Gus has his fans, so you know. Yeah, I just. Devin's right. Like, when she was celebrating that win, I wanted to heave a brick through my TV. And, you know, it's interesting because I'm sure that as like a CT or somebody on the show, you're probably like, good for you, kid. Like, that's awesome. You know, like, you're coming into your own, you're winning eliminations. And so for them, it's probably like, hey, it's cool to see this young kid, because she's very young. Like, she's not, you know, late 20s,
right? 21.
Yeah,
she's 22, 23, something. She's
a little bit younger than me.
And so like, I understand from how she's reacting and that kind of thing, why she's reacting that way. But as a viewer, it's just like, kill me. Like, I just
my thing with those characters is there's a lot of people on the show who are pretty blatantly hypocritical, or just don't make illogical decisions, usually kind of instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those characters only work if the show gives them kind of like the doofus edit. You know what I mean? Like, we need to like be able to like laugh at and highlight the fact that they're.
Oh no!
Like when Nelson at the beginning of the episode is being dumb and screaming at Kyle, like he used to with Anissa on Total Mass. They make fun of him a little bit. We know it's Nelson. He's like impulsive and dumb. But with her, they try to make us take her so serious, and it just doesn't work.
And she seems like she's like some great competitor, something like that. Like, all of her like eliminations that she's been against rookies, right?
Yeah.
And matchups that have been.
There's only been one veteran team on the league.
What was the elimination that she was in against Esther? I couldn't remember off the top of my head. It was Hall Brawl, right?
She beat Esther in Hall Brawl, yeah.
Yeah. So like, everything that she's been in has been like completely like tilted towards her. You know what I mean? Like, she hasn't had like any like matchup here be like, oh, like I wonder which way this is going to go.
There's been zero doubt that she's going to win each of these, because she's been in against some pretty weak competitors.
I mean, she could have lost her first one, actually, when she was against Kels and Tracy.
Tracy was like an absolute train wreck.
Yeah, I felt bad for Kels.
I felt bad for Tracy too, because she didn't even really know what was going on.
Yeah, she didn't know what she was doing. Yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, she's not going to know that though.
So this is my thing. This was the most fucking complicated thing ever for two fucking rookies to just go in and do elimination again. Like, that's what you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day,
would you prefer them just to do it like what they do with Ed, where there's just nothing happens the episode?
Yeah.
No, like, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying though, is like, I would prefer that the season is structured in a way with there's some fucking parity with who's actually going to go into this. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like it would have been. Hold on. Wasn't so like Abby had the opportunity to call it vet. She didn't.
I know, dude. She like got gaslit into like thinking that she had to go into elimination here. You know what I mean? Like she didn't have to. She kind of like interjected herself in that.
Oh, she definitely did it. But I think that's a credit to the vets that they're just able to outsmart these people consistently.
They need to. No, it goes back to us talking about like they need to put people in here that know what the fuck they're doing, that
Yeah.
actually like have a chance.
That's where I came to with this. Is it's like at no point was I sitting here going, this is going to be fine. I'm like, we're still on rookie things, and we've really yet to see a vet be in real trouble. I think the only person
we've had one vet female though,
and I'm just like, what the heck, man? Like,
the whole Uncle fucking CT thing, dude.
It's
like,
fucking
oh
creepy.
My god, dude! Like,
it's creepy.
Fuck? Like, dude, if someone like last night was like the first episode that they've ever seen of the show, like I actually think they may like initially think that is her actual uncle. Like CT is like her uncle.
I know.
Like that is
well,
like,
I would get confused sometimes because she talked about doing stuff for her mom and then like Romania and stuff, and then for her uncle. It's like, okay,
dude. So the thing is like, she like
it's
CT
cringe.
Like, gaslit her, dude. He like gaslit her, like to thinking
well,
that like that was
time.
like that was the best move. He convinced her that was her best move to go into elimination, win, and then go on to the team that has yet to win a challenge in the team portion. That's her best move, Rob.
And now they only have 4 people too.
I was beyond. I mean, I think Josh actually had a moment of clarity when he realized they did the wrong thing after she went on that team of 4, because it's like, okay, you got rid of their dead weight in Betina. You got rid of you got rid of dead weight, like legit dead weight there. And then Amanda, who is, I think, good, but not awesome. You moved her to the worst team.
So you moved her to a team where she can actually have like help a lot, right?
Yes,
because like that team's strong.
Ruby is in a better place because of that.
Because they like imagine like the rest of that team. Well, I guess Big T might be okay at puzzles, but we don't.
But at least she's good, right? Like they now have a positive at that.
Yeah.
Well, so one thing that came out of the aftermath this week, which was very interesting this week, because they had like a 500th episode celebration, and Darrell was actually on in addition to the main cast. For one, Darrell and Emmy got into a huge fight on the aftermath because Darrell mentioned that like if Michaela had more of a shot, he thought she could have been like the best rookie. And Emmy took great offense to this proclamation, and they started fighting about if Michaela would have been.
Dude, like what is Emmy talking about like before? Sorry to cut you off, and you can keep going, but like Emmy talking about how like Betina doesn't deserve to be there. Like Betina's been into an elimination.
Like the other thing is too, she's like pissed at Betina for like really upset at Betina for saying she's like call her out if it's a puzzle. Like there's like 5 options left. What's she supposed to do?
Betina went in against Amber B and Jeremiah in like a physical elimination in one. You know what I mean? Like
I felt really bad for her, honestly.
Yeah, dude, I felt terrible for her
because they're saying she's like, oh, she's not loyal. I'm like, she has like no friends in the house. Like all of her friends have been eliminated. The only person she has left is Corey, who she even like talks to.
Like, in what way has she not been loyal at all?
If anyone's not been loyal, it's been Emmy, because she's been the one who's been dicking over the rookies constantly to help the vets out.
And they'll drop her at the first opportunity possible.
Well, she's already been in 3 eliminations.
You don't throw your friend into elimination 3 times. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's like bordering on West Rooms territory.
Yes. Like, I mean, everything about this situation is the vets manipulating dumb rookies. That's really what this boils down to.
I mean, she hasn't gotten here, so that's been good. But she also has gotten very favorable elimination process. Because if she got a puzzle against against Esther or Betina, I think she would probably.
If Betina
more agility based on what she got.
Yeah, if Betina and Murray learns anything from this season, I want them. I mean, I know we say half as long and all this stuff, but I want them to take away one thing: never, ever, ever again do a season where there are more rookies on a cast than veterans, because this is exactly what will happen.
So
Everything
not necessarily.
I would say
the seasons the rookies are able to take over.
They just need to. If they're gonna like bring rookies on like this, like they need to get people that know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? It was the same thing with like that happened with Survivor, right? Like Survivor was bringing on all these
favorites. Yeah,
they were bringing on all these actors, right? Like models / actors. And Jeff Probst at one point was like, "You guys need to get me some people that know what the fuck they're doing." Right. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how they've like evolved into what they are today, where they have a lot of like long lasting fans that have watched the show for years And that's how it's evolved to where like the gameplay is at like a much higher level than it was at that period of time.
Yep.
I'd be curious if we went back and like did the numbers. How many of the rookies would we actually say did have some clue of what they were doing versus did not?
Maybe
Dude, like-
Kells, maybe.
Dude, we have all these people that are like volunteering to go in. Like, why the?
Well, I'm just saying, like, how many do we think would versus did not? I think we would.
I mean,
say,
let's do it. Here, let's do it real quick.
Okay, so there's three
I think the
Survivor
one person on the list that knew what the hell was going on was Kells. That was
Kells
it.
for sure, but I think the Survivor people too. They seem to.
Okay, yeah, but they just were in a bad spot, like really bad
Okay,
spot.
but they did know what they were.
They did know what they were doing, but they
I
were
think
kind of
Tori Lay, he seemed like he had a clue of what he.
All
was
right, here, let's
doing.
just go through it. Renan, I don't know if we had like enough of a chance.
Not that I would definitely say no.
You don't think he did know what was going on?
No.
Okay. Kells, yes. Tommy, yes. Corey, yes. Gabo, fuck no. Huey, I don't know.
No,
Somewhere in between, but not as bad as some of the other ones.
he wasn't as bad, but he still had no idea what he was doing.
Jeremiah, no. Ed, no. In hindsight,
Ed didn't know what he was doing. He
No,
volunteered
Ed,
to go in when there was a one-legged man that he could have picked to go against.
Logan at least showed some awareness, I think. So I think maybe not to the level of Kells or Corey.
Dude, he was like completely invisible tonight. Like
Yeah, that's true.
absolutely
He did
invisible.
nothing. He was just
His leg is really
a
hurt.
Bad quarterbacking job.
Like that's the thing. His leg is really hurt if their goal was to try to keep him from having to run and him pass a bag. Like that tells you that this dude is a liability and he's going in next week because these vets aren't gonna, unless the vets are able to somehow keep him on a team like Ruby so that way it cripples them, because it's obvious the guy's not going to be able to run.
Here, let's go through the women real quick. Michaela, yes. Lauren, no. Or well,
we don't even know. She got kicked off the show and she was edited out basically.
Tracy, no. Tasha didn't seem like it.
Not really.
Michelle, yes.
Yes.
Anissa, but well, she's not a rookie.
She's not a rookie.
Esther, yes.
She knew.
Berna,
I
I don't know.
know.
Towards no, but I think she picked up on things quicker than some of the other ones did.
Yeah, it was too late by the time she started picking up on stuff.
Priscilla, yes. Betina, I would say
Maybe.
yes. I think she kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know. Still, like she's still
Again, none of these
there's a lot
people
of people
chose
that I
to
think-
work together. They outnumbered the friggin' vets, and they
It's
could
just
have
not gonna
all
happen, man.
gotten together, and they could have been throwing bets in week
Mom,
one, and
that's
they
what-
didn't do it.
That's what
I just think even if
the
they're
season.
intelligent, that's so hard for them to put together.
That's what we told you before the season, because before the season, you were of the belief
That wasn't my take before the season. My take before the season was there was too many there was not enough like rookie pairs, and it was. I didn't know that they were going to be able to pick out people that easily, because my theory was that they're not going to have all these rookie pairs to put in. They're going to have to put in some rookie pairs. That didn't end up being the case.
So let's talk about the mission. In hindsight, this mission, like watching it, I was like, all right, like whatever. Like I don't know if
I think it was bad.
But like in hindsight, it's fucking terrible. Like because the teams were, I thought you would be up in arms about this. Because the teams are completely unbalanced, so you can't even do this mission.
No.
Well, my thing is, so if we set Nani over to Ruby, so then Ruby had 3, Ruby had 6, and Emerald had 5, but the 5 on Emerald had Tori and Casey as their woman. Who do we think would have won?
I don't even think you go that. That's ridiculous to me. I think you just have a situation where you do a fucking Jeff Probst. Hey, for this mission, you got to pick, one male on Emerald to sit out. That's what you do.
That would have been a pretty easy.
That's the only way to make this fair. The fact that the Emerald team was able to do this mission with the 3 guys when the other 2 teams only had 2, there was 0 chance they weren't winning.
I'm telling you, if you sent Nani over to Ruby, so then they had more people on their team, and then the 2 girls on Emerald were just Casey and Tori. Do you think they would have won or not?
Probably.
Eventually. Yeah, like I mean, I think Casey and Tori were like that dominant over some of the other.
Like I can't believe I think one of the issues with it too was they didn't even change the rules. I mean, poor Big T was like a wounded gazelle and then had 3 lions jumping on top of her.
And then what the fuck is the point of this smoke bomb? Like this is like that, like the producer who loves the pyrotechnics, like the smoke bomb is their wet dream. Like what the fuck? Like we don't need.
I don't think that's that bad. Like, whatever.
I'm fine with it. I mean, it's whatever. It's a thing.
A cool trailer shot.
I just think it was dumber on the elimination where every time a target went off, pyrotechnics went off. That was dumber to me.
It's just what they're gonna do.
I know. I realize I need to accept part of what the show is today, but they're just so. it's fine if you do it, but you have to have a mission that makes like
I really think
the
you
thing
could have
with it-
even sent. I really think it was just to have if Tori and Casey were on the same team, that team is going to win. Like I think you could have sent Josh over to Sapphire with only their 2 blues, and then it was just Devin and Emmanuel, and they still probably would have won.
The thing with the mission too is the rules. Like when they were explaining the rules, it was like there were a lot of rules for something that was like pretty basic, right? Like I thought that they could have like really simplified this because like they were like going through it and I was like, wait, what are they trying to do? They have to go like halfway, like
I kind of lost it at a second, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I feel like there needs to be like a guideline for the missions that if it takes you longer than like X seconds to explain it, you need to rethink it. Like you need to like go back to the drawing board.
I suppose. I don't know. I didn't think. Once they started doing it, it seemed relatively intuitive. Outside of when Logan and Corey lost that bag because Logan threw it over the end line, and then they weren't allowed to do that.
Did you get that? Like I was like, what the fuck? He caught it there. Like what's wrong with this? So
it's the neutral zone. I mean, I guess that was the rule.
I suppose.
So
I guess there's some people yeeting it like over the end and then just running chasing.
Yeah, you don't want somebody halfway over just throwing the damn thing. Like I get it. Like if they had caught it 1 foot closer, then it'd been fine. But oh well.
So that was the ruling, right? They had to catch it before they went into the neutral zone.
Yeah, I think that was the rule, which I get. It makes sense, but whatever.
Yeah, because like honestly, like I said this before, like watching the episode, like coming to a point, like I was like, yeah, this is fine. And then the elimination happened, and then I like started to think back on it. I was like what the fuck? Like I didn't think it was bordering on bad, right? Like I'll say that. Like it was like depending on like how I feel at a given moment, I would say it's bad or almost bad.
I didn't think it. I really didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fine functional episode to keep us on. I thought like some of like the Amanda stuff. Well, so another thing that came out of the aftermath that was interesting to hear was Devin said there was an aquamarine alliance between the Emerald and Sapphire teams.
That doesn't shock me either.
Yeah.
But what this alliance supposedly was they wanted to keep one of Amanda or Big T on the Ruby and Sapphire teams as like an anchor so they would lose missions. For one, I was surprised they've used Amanda as that much worse than like Nani, which I would have thought Nani was better than Nani, to be honest.
Yeah.
That she'd be like an anchor holding the team back. And then 2, I don't see why does that benefit the Sapphire team to have an anchor strapped to them?
Strapped to who?
Well, because they were saying the plan was why they were doing all these machinations to keep Emerald together. Whereas they were trying to keep one of Big T, like either Big T's on Ruby and Amanda's on Sapphire or vice versa. Like they wanted to keep one of them on each of those teams.
Or who knows? Maybe it was CT Jedi mind tricking them the whole time. Because I'm sorry, Josh ain't exactly like a brain surgeon when it comes to this stuff. So,
I mean, I think Devin's pretty well. I just don't see how does that benefit Sapphire to have a quote unquote anchor strapped to your team.
Dude, I don't get. I thought the MVP of this episode was Amanda. Like, I mean, I thought like.
Yeah,
I thought like her being able to get out of like her name just like potentially getting thrown in was incredible. Like, and Devin had that fucking bullshit confessional where he tried to say that the reason that they were putting Betina into elimination or someone into they were putting Emmy into elimination was because Emmy wanted to switch and she's only going to have a couple more times to be able to switch, and that's where they're doing. What the fuck are you talking about? Don't try and tell me that you like care about like Emmy and like what happens to her game. Like you don't give a shit about that at all. You just don't want Amanda coming over your team. Like I thought that was absurd.
That's
exactly why they did it. Tori even said that that's why they did it.
No, I get it, but I think they were also worried that if Betina, they would rather have Emmy win than Betina because they thought Betina might switch over to their team. Emmy wins.
I don't know. Like
I also don't think they should be this concerned about who's ending up winning. I am still beyond skeptical that these teams are going to be like that's. It's very, very hard for me to say that there's going to be teams in the final. It just is. That's just anytime we've seen this previously, we've seen an invasion when they went from individuals to teams that go back to individuals to go into the final. We've seen on Bloodlines when they were in pairs and they went to teams that go back to pairs to go back into the final. They're always gonna. It's just much more likely for them to work their way down than work their way up. They're much more likely to go from teams to individuals than vice versa. That's just how the show's operating.
Yeah, I thought I noticed that too. Like it seems like they're really operating of the belief.
Amanda was the only one to me who showed awareness that probably was not going to be the case.
Yeah,
she was like, "Look, I just care that I'm here. I don't care what team I'm on."
And dude, Rob, how crazy was it? Like, were you? I thought you were gonna like rip your like hair out of your skull at the top of the episode when Tori started to.
Oh
Talk
my
about
god!
how,
Don't even get me started on
dude,
that.
I thought like
I was so like I just can't. It's unfathomable to me that these are people who are functional members of society. Like how
Rob,
did
have you seen the math puzzle? Think about the math puzzle that they couldn't do earlier in the season. Just like remember that.
I just can't like how is that the case? Like I just can't. We can't even get started on it because it just makes no sense to me.
For everyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, we're referring to at the start of the episode when Tori said that at this point the main strategy is to get rid of weak people because there's a chance you could run the final with them.
I just like just to think about it for a second. Like Trace, you're about to go into a final. Then we're gonna randomly put teams together. There's 8 of you in the final. We have 7 Big Easies and 1 you. Well, what's the like? What are your which team is likely winning? Your team or the other team?
Your team.
Okay, exactly, because you're the one not Big Easy. Now, if we have 1 regular person and 7 Landons in the final, and we're randomly making teams,
some random combination of the Landons is going to win.
Exactly. Your point should be to get worse. If you don't know how the people are going to be paired together, you should be trying to get worse people because it elevates your standing in the order. That's one small part of it that we can talk
like
about.
this is
we talk about it constantly, but it's unbelievably moronic to me that people still think that way.
This is like what prospect theory is, right? When like people like behave differently than like what's actually like in their best interest, like from like a
Prospect theory.
like an economic perspective. I don't know.
Yeah, you talk about how Amanda was the MVP of the episode. I think the co-MVP is actually Kyle on top of that because Nelson starts screaming at him and he's so pissed at him. And like Kyle's actually handling it really well. And then he goes into the bedroom and he's talking and CT's like, I don't know how I feel about working with Kyle. Kyle's like, hey man, I want to learn how to win. And I'd rather be on a team with 2 winners than these jamokes. Like, you know, like that's basically what he said. He's like, I don't want to be on a team with Corey. I don't want to be on a team with Big Pete. I want to be on a team with winners.
It's the thing too. It's like, man, we get a fight 40 seconds into the episode. Let's go. We're here to party.
Yeah. I like when they started to fight. I did like think to myself, I was like, what the fuck is Nelson mad about? Like, what's going on right now? You know what I mean? Like,
Nelson is just like. There's just an impulsiveness to him where like because he's so loyal to his people, but then there's also like, I feel like there's just like a small like right after anything happens, there's just Nelson has like an explosive 2 minutes of anger, and after that he's just fine. Like when Lisa on Total Madness when he was like screaming at her for throwing the mission when she messed it up.
Dude, because so like he's done this before and he did it tonight. He explodes on someone and then immediately starts apologizing to other people. You know what I mean? Like he's like, I'm sorry. Like,
was he drunk or was he just like?
I think he was really pissed. I think they literally had walked in the door from elimination. Yeah. That's what happened, and he just lost it because I remember Derek talking about on one of the podcasts where they've asked them to not speak to each other, period, on the buses now, because it's like, hey, if y'all are going to have a confrontation or whatever, you got to wait till you get to the house or you get fined.
I like the bus fights they would air, though. Remember, like when
they're just hard to
Jordan
film.
They're
just hard to film.
Jordan to sign the release so he could punch him in the face or a free agent.
Yeah, but it's. So, you know, Derek's like they've gotten to the place where they've asked them not to talk, period, on the bus and wait so that the confrontation will happen where they can film it easier because it's not easy to film on the bus, especially when they're moving.
Yeah.
So I get it. But I think what's even funnier was the confrontation, or I should say the conversation in the bar where Kyle told Nelson everything Nelson wanted to hear. And Kyle's like, look, I want to be on a team of winners. I don't want to be with Corey. I'm just going to tell Nelson, you need nothing but friends in this game. So I'm going to tell Nelson everything he wants to hear. But he's like, I am not sorry for anything that I did.
Well, he said, yeah, I'm totally sorry. Like, I fucked up. You're a good friend. I should have just taken Emmanuel's spot on Emerald, right? Mm-hmm. Would that have been the better move for him?
I stand by it would have been, just because now if Emerald wins on the guys' day again and somebody from Ruby
he's going in.
They're picking Kyle.
It's going to be
he's in Emerald, like then people would probably pick Josh or Devin.
Yeah. I mean, in a perfect, if they pick him, which they probably will this next go round, he's going to pick Logan. So he's going to be going in against a one-legged man.
And that's why, so that we haven't talked about this yet. And this was really interesting. The piece of advice that CT gave Emmy before she actually went into elimination is that she should have chosen Amanda or Big T to go into elimination against, and that would have guaranteed her not going in because Betina still would have been left to go into elimination instead of Emmy, right? Emmy decided to ignore this.
Pick Betina, which was dumb.
And now Rob is in the same situation that you just described for the men, correct?
To a little bit different degree, because I think it's different in that Kyle wouldn't necessarily be picked to go in like immediately. He's more likely to just be picked by someone from Ruby going in and picking out a guy to go in elimination against. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, I mean, she put herself in a good position.
The women who are left on not Emerald consist of Amanda, Ashley, Emmy,
Big T,
and Big T. Yeah, so I mean,
Emmy's going in every time now, unless
there's a chance, yeah, for sure. Because like, let's say, yeah, I mean, they're gonna put her Big T in, right? Emerald, if they win again.
No, you'd have to think so. The way things have been going.
And then whichever one
really gets into under somebody's skin.
I think whatever one of those two gets put in is probably taking the other, right? Like I can't imagine they want to take a shot.
No, but I mean, if it's a physical elimination of Big T's, I could see it coming down.
That's possible, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's probably likely.
I think it's a little bit different. It's still a worse position because if she doesn't pick Betina and picks Amanda or Big T, then Betina's probably getting picked next week by Emerald to go in.
Because it would have been so easy for Emmy to just pick fucking Amanda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's gonna destroy her in that.
She would have beaten Amanda in that. Amanda's just too small for that elimination.
Well, especially like relative to Emmy. Like
yeah, exactly. I thought that was bad. I mean, clearly Emmy is not the second coming of Sun Tzu and is really, mapping these things out of how things are going to affect everything else.
I mean, I thought it was interesting that they actually like went out of their way to show us that. You know what I mean? Just to be like, this actually happened. Like she did like have a choice to not. She was told that was not her best move. That her best move would have been to pick Amanda or Big T to go into elimination against.
Yeah, and if it would have been me, I would have picked Big T, and then you take Betina's spot. And then you've still got a somewhat very strong Emerald team at that point, and Ruby's just a fucking disaster at that point.
Well, then that's the one thing with me. I'm curious, like, so then it would it just be Betina, Logan, Corey, and Nelson on Ruby?
No, it would have been that would have been the team. It would have been Corey, Nelson, Betina, and Logan.
So these spots, the way they work is basically like Betina getting eliminated eliminates Sapphire Girl. So then to go to Sapphire, you have to move another one.
Exactly.
Over. It just makes the teams really imbalanced when they do it that way, though.
Oh yeah.
Almost just going with people.
Like it's very apparent to me from the trailer for next week too that they're winning again next week. Like there's just like some of the things they hinted at. It just made it look like they're sitting pretty and they're not worried about anything.
Okay. Dude, I mean, give them some fucking jerseys too. Jesus Christ. Like how easy is that? Like, come on.
Why are they're really in on this monochromatic jerseys lately. I mean, we haven't had different looking jerseys since
the only thing they had was the sleeves, like the LeBron sleeves they were wearing. That was it.
It's like Allen Iverson. Like you can barely see those things. I don't know. I wonder why they went that way. They want to keep they like a dull theme. It seems
they like the Spies format a lot.
There's all these wearing these black or navy blue jerseys. So
hey, I know where we can save some money. Let's not get some colored jerseys.
Exactly. Yeah, just buy these sleeves. You get it like.
Forget the pyrotechnics and all that stuff. Like one of those pyrotechnics would have bought all the jerseys. Like, come on.
We have to allocate as much money as possible to pyrotechnics. Like we have to just like.
That's where our budget's going, Devin. I was, by the way, I do deserve credit for saying Emerald would be the best team.
They are for now. I don't know that they're the best team for the final.
They're not. It's not going to be teams in the final.
Someone made a comment in Discord, like trying to suggest that you did not say that, like a couple weeks ago.
I didn't say that.
You did.
I'm just fucking.
I'm with you.
Like, I thought Sapphire would have been much better.
I just think it comes down to the woman a lot of the times in these missions.
Well, I agree with you. Their women are very good, but their men, they've got arguably no great men on that team.
Yeah, but like Devin and Josh are fine in missions.
Yeah, Devin, they're fine.
Especially in terms of physical difference. Like I think there's just a much bigger difference physically between Devin, Tori, and Casey and the other woman on the cast versus any of them.
Yeah. I don't know. I just
It seems like Devin, it seems like you and I are the two people who are saying this is going to go back to individuals, and there's a few other people.
I don't think it is. I really don't.
I just can't see, like, every single time they've done this, they switch back.
I don't think they will.
It's gonna go back to individual. What's the public belief on this? What is the public?
Seems to be that they're going to stay in teams, which is crazy to me.
There's no way. Like
There's no chance.
if they
I personally think it makes for a more interesting final for them to stay teams. I really do.
We can't say what they're going to do based on what's the most interesting. That has not been their precedent.
They never I still go back to when they actually went from individuals to or pairs to individuals. Like they didn't even fucking tell us that they were gonna this was it for a while. You know what I mean? They made it seem like it was like this mission. Like I think that was just like a.
But remember, right after that, Tori's like, "Hey, we don't know if they're just gonna have us have all
the
teams next week."
That was like the biggest indication that they were going to be in teams past that mission, right? Like we didn't even know that was going to happen, and then they started to like put the logo of the team like in confessionals, and we had that confessional from Corey. That's like all we had.
And we're already seeing that a lot of these teams are getting diminished. What if there's Sapphire is just going to have one person on running into the final? Like it's just not going to work.
If it was CT on one team versus Emerald, who wins that final?
It depends on what they do in the final.
Yeah, if it's like War of the Worlds 2 where it's a benefit to like a CT just running with like one block and then the other team's like struggling to carry up all these different weights. And
that would be one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. If CT is like the last man standing, and then you've got Josh and Casey and Emmanuel and Nani, and they're just a complete disaster
at that point.
I mean, if it stays teams, I have a hard time believing that the Emerald team will be anything other than 6 people. I think people might infiltrate them, but I don't know that it's going to be anything less than 6 people. I mean, at this point, they've dwindled the teams down to a point where unless there is an advantage to have less people in the daily mission, they're winning each one of these.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. There definitely is still a very good chance it's going to be a mission that has an advantage for less.
Yeah. So if it's like a relay and it's like if you've got to get all 4 people across the finish line in a mini final type thing, then it's going to favor Sapphire.
How many people are on each
or
team?
Emerald or whatever?
Sapphire has 4, Ruby has 5, Emerald has 6.
Have they learned fucking nothing? Like they did this team bullshit for like how many years, and they still like haven't realized that you have to have like equal number of people competing in missions.
Well, like what do you want them to do? Like
what I said earlier, just have them sit out.
All you have to do, have people sit out. It's that easy.
They haven't really done that much, to be honest.
They've never done that.
It's so stupid.
To this day, the only reason someone has sat out is for like I'm afraid of heights, or they have gotten an injury, or they had a complete meltdown. That's the only time someone has refused.
No, so on the War of the Worlds 2 Purge, which again is still like it's just so dumb, that Purge. It's very dumb. But they let Ninja sit out because the US team has more people. I'm like, oh, you're purging somebody out. You're like, that's what should be the focus here. But they let her sit to the side that one, and CT swim by himself.
I don't even remember that, but sure.
That's the only time I can remember them doing it. And that was barely a team mission at that point.
Yeah.
They just don't do that for whatever reason. They don't do it. I don't get it either, but they don't.
I don't know what else is there to talk about.
I don't know, man. Like I've been thinking about this since last night when I watched it, and I was just like, other than what we've talked about, I don't know what else to do other than to say, like, I think one of the funnier things I've seen on the challenge in a while was watching CT and Kyle laugh at Ruby when they were going at it against Sapphire. Like that was some funny stuff. Like every time a Ruby person went down to the ground during that part where they were sitting on the sidelines was freaking hilarious. They were losing their minds laughing.
I thought it was pretty funny after Nelson and Kyle go each other at the start of the episode, and they kind of break them up a little bit, and Kyle's walking off. He starts saying Team Sapphire, just screaming it with his like hand up in the air. I thought that was hilarious.
And then him trying to join the celebration when they got back to the house, and they were like, Kyle, get away, get away. Like Kyle is sneaky, one of the funniest people on the show right now.
I don't know if it's sneaky. I think he's pretty
don't know.
pretty on the capital.
He has some. I'll say this: he has some really funny moments, but then he has like a lot of moments that are just like too over the top, and it just like doesn't really do it for me. But like, yeah, he's funny a lot of the times.
I was laughing pretty hard too when Betina or when Big T was in like the flamingo float and almost fell over the edge of the pool.
That was pretty funny.
Oh,
Is that,
alright.
would that ever, like what happens if that does happen?
I would have laughed.
Well, but like what I'm curious just like what the setup is. It can't be that dangerous, right? Because somebody can easily fall asleep on a float and just like
I mean, it
Over
was
the
like a
side.
6 or 8 foot drop. So I mean, she was
it's still not
aware.
great though.
No, I mean,
It's
it would have
like
been
twice
fun,
the height of
but
her, so
Dude, it almost seems like that could be kind of scripted. Like Tori just happened to be there.
with a
Like,
flag and
flag.
flipper
you
in.
know what I mean? And like a cameraman just happened to be there, you know, like
yeah, I mean it definitely could have been someone producer set up.
and like she just happened to be there with like food on like
And a mask. Like she had like her
Yeah,
like, vegan
like-
mask on.
Yeah,
we should start doing that. I'm surprised we don't do that. We need to start doing MVP of the episode. We're gonna do that every week now.
We probably usually kind of bring it up organically. We already said it was probably Amanda for this episode, right?
I don't think it's even close. I thought she had
Yeah.
did an exceptional job.
I thought she added a lot too, like her were just wearing like all the Emerald clothing and making it very clear
Yeah.
to switch over to their team. I thought that was
Yeah.
yeah, it is weird how sold they are on this whole team thing, right? Is that just a like
Bizarre. So like it could be that they're there with production, right? Like we're
Yeah.
not. Like they could be getting clues from production that we're not. That makes
I wouldn't trust anything production tells them.
I know.
They
I
lie to
agree.
them constantly.
Yeah.
Remember War of the Worlds 2, Cam was saying that they all were mad at them for throwing their own teams. It's like, oh, you guys are going to regret throwing people from your own team. It's like, well, it's actually a benefit to have less people in the finals. It was not at all a bad thing to throw your own team in.
Well, also remember, we've talked about this, like the amount of times that they've like deliberate or like instances where they've like deliberately lied to them, like straight up lied. What was it in All Stars? Wasn't that one where they like straight up lied to them? They told them that like only one team was going to go in, and it was actually two. Wasn't that
There
it?
was that. Well, remember there was also like something with when remember they switched up the format where you would call somebody in to like be your partner as part of the elimination. They didn't tell them that.
What else do we got on
Did
there?
anything about how you're projecting this going forward shift from this week?
Like who wins, or
Yeah, or just
general?
generally, like, is there anybody who you're a lot higher?
No,
on?
at the end of the day, we just got rid of another fucking rookie. Like that's all that happened.
We painted by numbers and came to the same place we have been for
Like, I mean,
multiple weeks.
The aftermath honestly changed my opinions more than anything. Just that they all think that Amanda's such an anchor.
All right, so let's go over this right now. So next week, male elimination. Most likely, let's pretend like Emerald wins, right? Emerald wins again. Logan is probably going to be the houseboat or the winning team. Who is Logan calling out?
Kyle. Although
Yeah,
he did
not
think
calling
Nelson was
CP
bad
out.
when he went. Maybe he does call Nelson. I would think it's Kyle.
I mean, I think Kyle's going to go in regardless of how all this plays out.
Didn't he say he did say that he thought that Nelson was the easiest to go against when he was
Yeah.
giving Ed advice last week, right?
Yeah. So maybe he does. I don't know how much loyalty he has to the Ruby team.
I hope absolutely none. Dude, honestly, I am kind of glad that it is kind of nice having Nelson and Corey be like the figureheads of the Ruby team because that just sums it up.
It's just a disaster, is what it is. Like every
Well,
bit
it's
of
just
it.
none of them can win besides Emerald. We'll see what they do next week. They seem to like when a team. I guess this is just how the challenge works. When you have teams, one team's going to steamroll, right? It's just what happens.
I don't know. We've gone over.
I don't
this.
know. Cutthroat was pretty
I mean,
even.
Gray team wins one
Steven.
the other two teams combined.
Yeah, gray team won a bunch of missions, but red just kind of decimated the blue team one by one over time.
They
both whittled each other
Gets
down.
all sick during the final. They're all
Yeah,
falling
if
out.
it wasn't for food poisoning, who knows how that thing turns out.
Yeah.
Gauntlet 2 wasn't that imbalanced either. Like
No, it wasn't that.
the rookies won 2 more than the veterans.
The last couple of times they've done it, though, I mean, we have the U.S. team steamrolling the UK throughout World War II, and then we're on Bloodlines. The red team wins every single mission that season.
So I don't like on paper, like I still don't think that Sapphire is that much worse than Emerald. You know what I mean? We've only had
Oh,
we've had two missions, right, where it was like up in the air about who could win. Last night there was no fucking way Emerald was going to lose. Like,
Well,
there's just
now
no
with
way.
the way it's set up, I think it's just all going to be based on if it's an advantage or a disadvantage to have more people. To be honest.
Which is idiotic. Like, I want the producers to tell me how this is a good idea. Like, how is this a good idea?
They just don't care.
Like,
Yeah, I think that's probably
either
the-
have someone
Have other
fucking sit,
priorities.
have someone sit the fuck out, or come up with a mission where it doesn't matter how many people you have compete. One or the other. Figure it out.
Yeah. Or I guess my thing is, and this is a nitpicky thing, like really nitpicky. So sorry to the producers here. But if you're going to make a huge deal out of this being the 500th episode of the challenge, like they actually broke the fourth wall. They had TJ point to the audience and thank them, like doing his best Jeff Probst. They had the whole, like, you know, both squads doing the hearts and the thank you. Like, if you're going to do that, I think on paper they thought this was going to be some kind of a banger elimination, or not elimination, but mission and even the elimination. But it's like, hey, if you're going to make a big deal out of this being the 500th episode, actually do something worthy of that. Like, this was not that.
Well, the other thing too is like, oh, we're gonna go back to our roots. I'm like, are you guys gonna prove there are ghosts in Croatia somewhere? Like, that's not really your
Hey,
roots.
if you want to
It's
go
like,
back
you
to
could be
your
melting an
roots,
ice
you need to
sculpture or
have one
something.
team cook dinner for the other and put crickets in it. Like that's
that's
the roots of the show.
We need to be melting ice sculptures. We need ballet parking involved.
Yeah, we need valet parking. We need,
that's where the roots are for this show.
We need a mission that's so
I
poorly
thought they
designed
would've
it
done
falls
trivia. I
apart.
thought that was their move, right? How did they not do trivia this week? Have it just be all trivia questions from like the first 12 seasons?
That would have been way more enjoyable. And you can
Have
do
them
that,
falling
like,
off the cranes into the water. Yeah, like do that.
Everyone can compete too.
Yeah.
Like, you can come up with a way that it's like equitable to, like, for everyone.
One team has CT on it, who was on some of those seasons, so that's their advantage. And then
that was hilarious when Kyle asked CT what the first episode was.
His first episode was like, it's not that far off. I mean, Inferno.
No, he isn't.
Yeah.
That's actually something that I would like to figure out. I'm sure somebody's done it, but I'd be curious to see episode counts. Like, who has the most episode appearances? It would have to be somewhere, either CT or Bananas.
Johnny.
It's got to be Johnny. Bro.
Well, Johnny was on a bunch of the seasons where there was only 10 episodes. And whereas CT was like Inferno 1 and 2, where he's on, 38.
He also went like long he went like long stretches of time where there were just like he wasn't on any seasons.
Or he'd be on for an episode and get kicked off.
Yeah. So I would assume it's Johnny, but I wouldn't be surprised if CT's not far behind him.
I bet
Anissa's probably up there too, because she usually hangs around now. And then, I mean, she was actually on some of those seasons where it was like,
yeah. And Anissa has been on the older seasons where there was 19 episodes, and she's been on the new seasons where there's almost 19
episodes. The other thing too with me that I thought was interesting, how do they know this is going to be? So do they know do they already know they're going to split the Fessy Josh confrontation up over 2 episodes? They know it's going to be this the 500th one.
Well, they probably in their projections as they went through the season were like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Oh, we see this, we're going to do that.
So we're going to have some extension in here somewhere. We already know that.
Yeah.
I'm curious if they had that much foresight into what they were
probably
doing.
I would think so. They've done the show enough now.
Rob, you can just fucking do that every challenge for like a few weeks. You know what I mean? Like, they could have just all said like,
that's also true.
Like, you can just do that over and over.
Every episode's the 500th episode until it actually
it actually is.
Yeah.
Which might explain why it was still not an awesome challenge in elimination, because they've been doing it.
I don't know if I buy that it actually was the 500th episode. I think there's a lot of wiggle room where it's like, oh, it's actually 504th. They decided to call this one the 500th.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. Do you count a reunion? Do you count the 0 episodes? Do you do the preview episodes? Like, what do you count?
Well, there's also plenty of episodes where it's like, oh, this was episode 1, but it was like 2 episodes that were aired at the same time. So is that really 1 or is that 2 episodes? There's a lot of stuff like that.
I think they would call it 2 because when they showed it on repeats, it was 1. So like the premiere is a double episode, but it's actually 2.
That's what I'm saying. But there's a lot of fudge room they have with stuff.
Either way, it's still super fucking impressive that this show is at its 500th episode, give or take 10.
Yeah, you guys should watch the aftermath. Darrell and Emmy getting into it was pretty interesting.
I will. The fact that Darrell was on it randomly for like, I was telling these guys before we started.
They had cake. They had like this huge celebration that Devin was leading, and then somehow Darrell mentioned something about Michaela, like being like if he thought she would have been the best rookie if she hung around, and Emmy was just not happy.
Tell me someone threw cake at another person.
They attempted to.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm sure Darrell is kind of pissed because we kind of said this before we started, but it's like Man, if I'm Darrell and I'm on double agents, like that game's really not set up to behoove me, but this season would have been like
You would've
Darrell's
just gonna
cake.
sit around. There wouldn't
Like
have been a
Darrell
Super
could have
Bowl
literally
game.
done nothing this whole season and he'd probably be on Team Sapphire right now.
I don't get why they spent as much time as they did on the elimination for how anticlimactic it was.
Oh, they just made
was
Betina look
pretty
as poorly
long.
as possible the whole
Like,
time, too.
why?
What,
Like, what's
the producers really seemed like they had it out for this season for some reason.
Yeah.
Because they didn't give her any airtime outside of her laugh for the first like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Apparently she was doing all this stuff behind the scenes. And then now, like, their whole thing has just been she's like, nobody likes her in the house. Like, Emmy
Nobody
explained
likes
about it.
her. She's terrible. She doesn't know what
Yeah.
she's doing. Like, she's expendable.
Another thing too.
I didn't think she was that bad. I honestly
I
didn't
didn't
think that she
either.
came
I
back.
thought she was. I didn't mind her being on. She's the kind of player that I like. There's somebody that has an awareness of what's going on and is willing to do whatever they can to move themselves ahead, even if they're not the best physical competitor. I always like those competitors being on the show.
Yeah.
But
I think
the
it's
thing
just
is-
the same. It's the same problem that I've already kind of talked about. It's like when you have that many rookies debuting on a season, they're only going to spotlight a couple, really, because those are the ones that stick around. And they obviously decided that Emmy was their MVP in the edit. And so she gets the screen time.
The thing is with that too, though. So one thing that didn't get aired. Remember that Betina and Fessy like hooked up prior to Amanda and Emmy. Amanda and Fessy hooking up, and then supposedly one of the reasons why Amanda really had it out for Betina this episode was that Fessy kept flirting back with Betina after he started hooking up with Amanda. So there was like kind of a love triangle feud between the two of them. That was
It makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like we're just gonna get rookies getting thrown in the rest of the season until they're gone, right?
Which,
There's not many of them left.
yeah, there's Logan and there's Emmy now and Emmanuel.
Logan, Emmy, and Emmanuel. And Emmanuel seems pretty solidified.
So-
Any of them are.
We have, how many episodes do we have before the final? 5. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have 5 episodes before the
Projecting
final.
5. We don't know.
We might have 6. We don't know.
We might have 6. We might have 5.
Right. And so how many rookies are left? We have
3. It's Emmanuel, it's Logan, and it's Emmy. That's it.
In my mind, I think of Big T as a rookie still, but she's not.
Well,
She's not-
She's
she's
not
just
tied
not
into
great.
everybody else, but I don't know that they would necessarily put her.
I think they will because she was fully expecting she was going in last night.
I think we're getting a format change still here too within these next 2 episodes or so. I just don't see them continuing like this.
So we have 5 episodes left, and we have, how many people do we need to get rid of on the men's side? 1, 2,
How
3.
many are we
it's-
assuming are in the final?
We're assuming we're getting 2 to 3 out at this point.
So we need to get rid of 4 men, and we need to get rid of 1, 2.
We don't need to, though. That's the thing. That's why I
We-
think this thing is staying teams, is I think they're wanting a bigger final. And so we're just going to get rid of probably 2 to 3 men and 2 to 3 women. And I think that's just the way this is going to chalk out.
If I had to guess what happens from here, I think that we get a format switch either to 2 teams. I don't know. Something changes after like maybe this episode, or the episode after that, and then we start getting 2 people going back into elimination again, and then we work ourselves down to where there's 8 people left.
Rob, CT looks like he's in a pretty good spot.
I don't know
Like,
what they're
this-
doing up there. Like
this is
they,
not
they-
going
He's
your
never
way.
going in, man. Like, it ain't happening.
Like we just have people talking about how they want to be on CT's team too. You know what I mean?
And CT's like, I can't just give you a final. Like, you got to actually win one.
Like, what the fuck is going on there?
I just don't get it. I can't.
It seems like he and Ashley are in a great spot. Like, they are just sitting there, just like sitting pretty. No one's messing with them because Ashley has political ties on all the teams. And nobody wants to go one-on-one with CT, so we're just going to watch those 2 chalk their way to the
Josh
final.
doesn't put CT in next week. He's getting called out by CT probably the week after that.
Say that again.
If Josh doesn't put CT in next week when they win, he's probably getting called out by him the week after that.
Unless he wins. Josh
He'd
wins.
have to win 2 in a row again. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is my prediction. That if Josh doesn't win next week, then 2 weeks
Oh.
after that, somebody wises up and finally puts CT in, and then Josh.
I maintain that you're going to see them win again next week, and they're going to throw Logan or Kyle in, and it's going to
Yeah.
be Logan versus Kyle. That's what you're getting.
dumb. They should put
Or
CT
Nelson.
in.
It's gonna be Logan versus Kyler and Nelson, I bet.
Yeah, and then they should put CT in.
I don't know. Do you really want CT to go in against a one-legged man? Like, it's just not going to go well.
Yeah,
for
this
him.
is
like what you just have to keep putting him in.
Why do
It's
you
just how
put
it
him
goes
in when
home.
you know he's going to win?
You
Like,
don't
you
know
wait,
that. Things
you
happen
put
when
him
they-
in the strategic spot where you think he
Rob,
might
You
lose.
can't
Like,
wait for
what
the
the-
perfect shot. You have
Rob,
to keep
what
putting
the-
him in.
What the fuck is he gonna beat? Like any of those guys? Like, what are those guys gonna beat him in?
I don't know. Just something weird
Or
happens. and he
it's not even
loses.
any of those guys. It's like, what's Logan gonna beat him in with like a pulled hamstring?
I don't know. I'm just telling you, you have to keep putting him in until he goes home.
I think you just really want this bet
No,
to pay
I'm telling
off.
you, you can't just sit around and wait for the perfect shot. Perfect shot doesn't happen.
So the
You have
thing
to just
is
keep putting him in until he goes.
that
Like it's something I don't know. It's something where you just use your arms. You have to hold your weight up, and then he beats CT.
So, like,
if that happen,
if you're thinking about it from the perspective of Josh and Devin, right? Like and we're just thinking about it from their perspective, right?
yes,
They're probably of the belief that if they win next week and they put CT in, they don't want the next guy cycle to come up, the possibility for CT to win, and then like one of them get thrown in, right? That's what they're afraid of.
That's wrong.
I'm just saying that's what they're afraid of, right? That's
I would want them to articulate to me how that's so likely of a scenario. Even if CT wins, for one, we don't know what team he's going to. He could hop onto their team. He could hop up on Sapphire. We don't know. So CT wins, then CT goes back in the house. CT has to, for one, pick out one of the three guys on that team to really target, which means for one, two of the three are going to get off scot-free completely. Then he has to go back to his team to convince all the other people on his team to put that person in and the possibility that that team wins. That's so unlikely.
So the thing is, so if CT wins, he could switch on to, I mean, that could be part of their fear too, right? If CT goes in, if they put CT in, CT wins, and then he switches on to Emerald and takes one of their spots. They could definitely be afraid of that too.
Yeah, but like anybody could do that.
Because I mean, more than likely, he's taking Emmanuel's spot.
I mean, if I'm Josh and Devin.
No, I think he's probably taking Josh's spot.
I think he might be taking Josh's spot, but like Devin, anybody could do that.
I know. I'm just going through like what their thought process is.
I don't see why he should be that much more likely to do that versus somebody else.
Yeah. I don't know. The more I have been watching this season, I am 100% convinced CT's winning. Like it is so crystal clear that he is getting the hero winners edit right now. Like they have made him look squeaky clean and spotless. They had, him driving the narrative for the third week in a row. Once again, like explaining what's going on. Like there is zero chance he's not winning in some combo.
The issue, the thing is though, is that like, it's not that like he's just like in such a good spot. You know what I mean? And they've made him look so good. Like that's the issue.
I think Nelson's in a so much. I think Nelson's more.
How is Nelson in a good spot?
Nelson's in a bad spot right now.
I don't think Nelson's in a bad spot.
The only because I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say that because right now Amanda and Big T are on their team. All right. Realistically, what will probably happen is they're going to lose again, and they're going to throw either Emmy or Big T in 2 weeks if they stay teams. We'll just keep it that way. Big T's probably going to lose, and no one's going to want to go to the Ruby team, so they will pick probably the Emerald team, and somebody from the Emerald team is going to wind up on their team and be really pissed about it. And at the end of this, it's going to be if Nelson and Corey don't get eliminated, which is highly, I think at least one of them has to go home. Like there's just the way the combinations are playing out. I just don't see how both of them make the final.
Honestly, Ruby's best chance at this point is get super lean, right? Like get rid of Logan, get rid of Big T, and then like if this were to stay like a teams thing, get rid of Logan, get rid of Big T, and run the final with Corey, Nelson, and
Amanda. That's it. That's your best chance of winning at this time.
Corey and Nelson can run and can carry things, and then
Amanda can do the puzzles.
Yeah, they can carry Amanda if they have.
Yeah, like I mean that's like
that is their best chance because they ain't winning with Big T. They ain't doing it. It ain't happening. They're probably not winning with Big T at puzzles.
I don't know if we see much traction.
I think Big T's just glad to still be there.
So do we think that Corey and Nelson have an awareness of this or no?
Yes.
So an awareness of what?
That's their best move.
Yes, I do. I think they do.
I think so. So really, isn't that if they're sold, I don't know if it's going to be teams or not moving forward.
No. Wait, say that again.
Do we know if they think it's going to be teams or not moving
It
forward?
seems like it, right?
They're
Like,
acting, especially the
I mean,
Emerald
Nelson was
team.
very upset, but Nelson's also just get upset at anything. I don't know if we've seen much from them in either direction.
I mean, the way the Emerald team's talking, they're running the final like a team. So I would assume that is the talk of the house, is that they're going teams the rest of the way. So if Nelson and Corey might be not the greatest players, but they're not that bad. And
I think
there's
Corey's showing some awareness of at least.
this season, actually, Corey seems to know what's going on, and he knows they're screwed. Like, he's very aware how screwed they are right now. So, because they have zero power and zero chance of getting power back at this point.
all right, what else do we want to talk about?
Power rankings, I guess.
We can do power rankings.
All right, let's do it.
I have to shift it based on what's happened this week. Like, Amanda cannot be number one in the current hierarchy, the way things shake
If I hadn't
out.
told you guys about her being an anchor, would you still have said that?
No. But I don't know if that really changes my mind about this now. You know, like she.
Okay. I was very surprised to hear that.
I am too.
Well, so I mean, I guess it does, in the sense that if people like perceive her that way, she's not going to win. You know what I mean? Because that was filmed after. Like that person knows who wins. Yeah, so there's no chance she has it winning right now.
Yeah, it'd be very unlikely, unless if I could see Devin being the type to kind of play mind games like that, but it's very unlikely.
Yeah, and the only reason that I have to remove her from the top 3 of power rankings is, like, she's on objectively the worst team right now. So it's really, if they stay teams and these teams stay as they are right now, which is how you power rank, like, where are they right now? Her chance of winning is very small.
Well, like, if we do that, we have to power rank the teams basically. I still just can't see it, Trace. I just can't see. Like, I think it's less than 5% chance that they.
I'll put $10 on it. Stay in teams or go individual.
For 50. What are the odds?
I'll bet you.
I give you 2-1.
She doesn't want to.
What?
Go ahead.
I'll give you 2-1.
Supporting my side or Trace's?
Your side. Let's go on this together.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, I'll do that.
I'll give you 2-1 that they stay teams.
I'll do that.
So I'd have to pay. I'd basically have to pay both of you $10 if y'all win, and then y'all owe me, I guess, 10 if I win.
No, we would owe you 20.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm down with that bet. I think they're staying teams. I really do.
I don't see it. I could see them going back to pairs. I could definitely see that.
I don't think that's happening. I think they're going to go teams,
what's
and
the
then
bet here? If
they start the final as the 3 teams or whatever combination of teams. Yeah, whether they combine cells or whatever, they're still running as either like the 3 individual cells, or they combine them.
Basically, in teams of more than 2.
Yeah, any team more than 2 is my bet.
Or Stafford might be stuck with just 2 at that point. But
yeah,
whatever their situation.
Whatever that situation turns out being. But yeah, that's my prediction. And then if they purge down during the final, I still win. But if they start the final as individuals or start the final as pairs, I lose.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with
that. Almost done. Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good at this, or good about this. I just don't see it. Well, I don't know.
I don't see it.
I swore up and down that during World of Worlds 2 they were going to go individual, and they never did. So I'm learning my lesson.
But they started that season as teams,
right? Yeah, but they did the same thing on World of Worlds 1. Like, they started as pairs and went individual. So I was fully waiting on it.
I think going down is much different than going up, because everybody's always playing for an individual. You're not always playing for a team.
All right, power rankings. Rob, go.
Nelson 1, Devin 2, Corey. Corey versus Maine is hard. I'll stick with Corey at 3.
Riding that Nelson into the end.
Josh mentioned it in the show. Like, this is the best position he's ever been in, right?
Yeah,
no question.
Yeah.
At what point do you start to take him seriously and put him in this?
And winning a final, I wouldn't. He'd be last of these guys to win a final, so never. Like, he'd always be outside the top 3, unless if they have only running as 3 in the final. I think on World of Worlds 1, he was actually in a pretty decent spot. If he just could have beaten Jordan in that elimination. So that's for the guys. For the woman, I'll go Tori, Casey, Nani. Overall, Nelson, Tori, Casey.
Okay, Trace.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, I really can't. But I have to go Smashley 1, Emmy 2, Casey 3.
What? Stop.
What? Come
Stop.
on.
Stop.
I mean, the edit she's been getting makes her out to be like the hero of the entire season, the MVP, the rookie of the year, like all of these
They always
things.
give one rookie like the
I know that, and I realize she's probably
going
going to have to win 2 to 3 more eliminations to make the final. So she's going to probably have to face Big T and win,
I mean,
which she will, and then she'll probably go against Amanda, and who knows, and then she's going to have to go against another good one to get through this. But like, I think she's going to beat Big T, so she's going to hang out for at least another 3 weeks.
Even if her hypothesis is they run in teams, these teams are going to get switched around a ton.
She's getting like the Boston Rob Redemption Island at it, dude. Like that's how favorable of an MVP.
That's how, I mean, literally.
Like,
this really,
Boston Rob is presented as in control of everything.
I'm just saying it's favorable. You know what I mean? Like, and like that, like
I haven't found
the producers are begging you to love Emmy, and I'm not.
They're like, to me, honestly, I think that's been one of their biggest mistakes. They just have to, you just have to present that character like they're an idiot. Like
the thing
you have
is,
to do with that character.
The thing is, it's like they're almost like forcing everyone in confessionals to like give them material that like presents her that way too.
Yeah.
Because like remember when she was like singing at one of the club nights and they go around to like every person and talk about like how much they loved her song and like Fessy like starts to like sing it out. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, stop trying to gaslight me. Like she's.
I don't like her. I'm sorry. you know, like it's not happening. It's not going to happen, as the Mean Girls would say.
Do you think do you think they really want us to like her just because of like how big of a following she has? Like,
yes.
Do you think that's what it is? Like, they want her followers to like watch the show, and they want to present her in a favorable way, so those people to like continue to like watch the show. That has to be what it is, right?
That's part of it. I mean, again, like
that's part of it, and they want you to feel good about the winner.
She's not winning. There's also a significant portion of the fan base that does like her. So clearly, she has gone over for some of them. Like, and like that, like if you have this rookie character, that's usually what they, whichever rookie like fights, especially in this situation when the rookies have been so like, I mean, just getting chucked out constantly. If there is a rookie that's able to fight through that, they always say kind of a favorable way.
Yeah.
Like Cam on Vendetta, so I think was way more impressive than Emmy is, but that's similar to that.
Yeah.
All right,
men. I gotta go. Gosh, I can't believe I'm doing that. CT is the easy number one still. 2 and 3, you could just flip a coin at this point. So I guess I'm gonna go Devin, Josh. Or wait, no. CT, Kyle, Devin.
Okay.
One sec. All right. Overall.
And then overall, CT, Smashley, and Emmy. I just can't believe I'm having to put this chick up here, but like
she's not winning. Should we bet on that?
No, because I don't feel great about it, because this could just be the heroic rookie edit, and she's going to go home in the next to last episode before the final.
More favorable edit than her too.
I mean, Tori could wind up switching teams. Like, I mean, there's so much that could happen.
The whole thing, right? Even if your hypothesis does come true that they're in teams.
If Ruby somehow stumbles into a victory and it's Tori versus Emmy in an elimination, I would put my money on Tori, and then Tori could consider switching teams to be with just CT, Smashley, and Kyle in a final, you know,
or like, even somebody takes her spot on.
Like a lot of things could happen here. Like Emmy's only going to follow Uncle CT, so you know, who knows? Maybe Amanda wins, switches, and then Tori decides to go to them. Like, there's a lot of things that could happen, so we'll see. So yeah, it's painful to put CT, Smashley, and Emmy as the top
Devin,
3.
Who was saying it wasn't my take that Emerald was the best team?
Someone in Discord.
But what was the reasoning behind that?
I meant to ask, but I didn't.
Just constantly being brought down at every turn.
They also wanted me to make sure that I didn't let you get away with thinking that this mission was good.
I thought it was, again, I thought it was fine. The inbounds teams is a problem.
I thought you would have been like incensed about this.
No, my thing is, I really do think to whichever team had Tori and Casey was going to win, much more so than whichever team had more people.
Yeah, but at the same time, like they're only going against like a couple of the teams. You know what I mean? Like there's still when they're on offense. So like who did they play defense against?
They played defense against Sapphire. It was the first team, right? It was Sapphire, or was it Ruby? I don't know. I think it was
Alright.
Sapphire.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was.
So I'm gonna go for the women. I'm gonna go Tori, Casey, Nani. For the men, I'm gonna go some order of CT, Devin, and Nelson. I'll go. Fuck. I'll just keep it the same. CT, Devin, Nelson, even though I don't feel good about that at all. And then I'm gonna go Casey. Fuck it. I'm gonna put Devin 1. I'm gonna go Devin, CT, Nelson, and then I'm gonna go Amanda, or not Amanda. I'm gonna go Tori, Casey, Devin, I guess.
I do think Devin has a very good chance to win too. I know I've been all aboard the Nelson train. He's still my pick, but I think in the right setup, he has a very good chance to win.
If Ashley didn't come over to that team and they did compete as teams, it would be like one of the worst finals performances of all time.
Which team? Oh, that Ruby team.
Ruby, yeah. Like if Amanda isn't on
There's
that
so
team,
many of them to get rid of. What if Amanda's out of here?
yeah, I know. Like think about that. Think about if it's like Corey, Nelson, and
Amanda.
Or no, not even Amanda. Who's the other?
Big T.
Yeah.
They're thin at least. Like they're lean.
What do you, like? They don't have a lot of people. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so I think, and they don't have. Like I know Big T's not great. I don't see her being like Big Easy though. Or I think she's even better than like what Devin Simone would have been in the Battle of the Seasons final, or Jay in the X's 2 final.
All right, so I think that's all we have for this episode. Just as housekeeping, we do plan to do our annual, or at this point biannual, or I don't even know.
Triannual, 4-annual at this point.
It's not annual. It's a
Preseason draft.
Yeah, our seasonal preseason.
Our preseasonal draft
for All Stars 2. So at this point, you'll have that now for between Sunday and whenever, or in November 11th, when the first episode of All Stars is released. What day of the week is November 11th?
Thursday.
Good question. So it is Thursday.
They're doing it on Thursday again this year. So,
yeah. And if you are a patron, that'll be the bonus episode. Well, All Stars goes on is that you'll get the recap for All Stars 2. Thank you for listening. Talk to you again soon. Bye.